Com today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Aloha, America. It is Tuesday, July 7th, 2020, and getting into the week here, all kinds of interesting things to talk about. And again, as usual, going to do news until we run out of news, then we'll open the phone lines here. And I want to start here with the Epstein scandal because there's a lot more information coming out now that Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. And Richard Fernandez is out there saying why the Epstein scandal may be the most important story of the decade. Well, if it goes all the way through and Ms. Maxwell sings, it could very well be, because there seems to be a lot of very nasty stuff out there. And already I'm seeing hoax articles to try and get people chasing in the wrong direction. So, you know, be aware, the people who want this to go away, they're going to do everything they can. If they can't get at Ms. Maxwell herself, they're going to do everything they can to muddy the waters so that nobody's really sure what they're hearing is true or not. That's what's going to happen there. So there's an aspect to this story that nobody has really been talking about yet. We know there was a massive blackmail operation going on, that all of these rich and powerful individuals were videotaped and recorded with their little sexual activity going on, which makes them wide open to blackmail. We don't know where all those tapes went. We don't know if Ms. Maxwell has a copy. We don't know where that stuff. Whoever has those tapes right now is in control of our political system through all of those people who got caught in this little honey trap that was set up. Now, a lot of people are saying that this was an Israeli Mossad operation. If it was, why is nobody talking about it? Why is nobody talking about the blackmail? Why is nobody talking about the fact that all of these world leaders were incredibly dumb to go into Epstein's house or his island or his Florida place, not understanding what was going to happen? Is this really the best that we can do? So anyway, federal authorities were out there, they're hemming and hawing and trying to explain away why it took 24 years to arrest Ghislaine Maxwell. Because it took that, they knew what she was doing. Been known all along. So apparently Ghislaine is going to avoid her first New York City court appearance on child sex trafficking charges by opting to appear remotely over a TV camera. This is probably a very good thing. It looks, at least for the moment, like the people who have her in custody are taking her safety very, very seriously. But at this point, like I've said before, I'm glad I'm not carrying her life insurance. Okay, prosecutors are pushing for a protective order to keep the identities of third parties, including victims, secret. They're trying to wrap this up and contain the damage. Yeah, I like the way they put this. She's going to appear remotely due to significant safety issues related to in-court proceedings. Somebody doesn't want her whacked, which is a good thing, I think. Okay, according to Saagar Enjeti, Ghislaine Maxwell's friends predict she will sell out Bill Clinton and other powerful people to get a deal to walk. And yeah, she will. I mean, look what she was doing. You know, spoiled, privileged socialite becomes pimp and partner to Jeff Epstein's operation. This is not a person who's going to stand her ground morally. Now, we've already heard she's going to protect Prince Andrew because she apparently likes him. But yeah, she may roll on Bill Clinton. So I saw a story that a member put up at our website where Bill and Hillary Clinton had left the country. I don't think it's true. I think it's part of that false information that they're putting out there to cloud the situation. Hillary is not leaving because I'm convinced she's going to try and grandstand something at the convention. Bill, on the other hand, who knows? Who knows? All right, let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. They're still going on and on about this, and they're talking about the second wave. And unfortunately, the numbers are going up, and we're starting to see a serious number of cases here in Indiana, 2,505 dead so far. The CDC is saying that a COVID-19 positive result on the test just means you've previously contracted the common cold, which pretty much all of us have done. That's where they're getting these high numbers. The test is not discriminatory enough to tell the difference between COVID-19 and other virus-borne diseases. So, in what can only be considered a pre-orchestrated top-down worldwide pyramid scheme, also involving the executive office of the president, President Donald Trump, Sir Anthony Fauci, or rather Dr. Anthony Fauci, sorry about that, Bill Gates and others who've defrauded the American people yet once again, after it has been revealed by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention that a positive COVID-19 test result merely shows the testee was once infected with the common cold and nothing more. Boy, don't you like the way it's done in the science fiction movies where, you know, they immediately have a test and they know what's going on instead of this guessing and by golly, and we don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, it's very, very confusing. All right, a Texas doctor is out there warning that they have a shortage of beds again. Remember when they put up all those tents with all those beds that wound up never being used? And let's see. So this Texas doctor, Texas followed Florida on Monday and passed the 200,000 case mark, leaving Texas just shy of Florida, with the fourth largest outbreak in the country behind New York, California, and Florida. But the bigger news was the hospitalizations, which saw another near record jump in newly hospitalized COVID-19 patients. Hospitalizations rose by 517 to 8,698. Now, here's a reversal going on. Mexico is now closing their border with the United States to keep out the COVID-19. They've closed the border along Arizona. I'm sure the Arizonans are happy about that. But in the last 4 days, 15 states have reported increases in coronavirus cases, resulting in at least 40% of the U.S. pausing or reversing the reopenings. Cases are particularly surging in Arizona, California, Florida, and Texas as the world watches in disbelief. The rest of the world seems to have this COVID-19 under control. We seem to have botched it here in the United States of America. The international community is alarmed about the major upswing in infections, with European officials maintaining the U.S. traveler ban, and now even America's southern neighbor is putting up walls. Well, good. Donald Trump promised he was going to make Mexico pay for the wall. All right, the second wave is here as expected. Bill Gates says this one will get our attention. It's already got our attention there, Bill. Bill Gates is truly sadistic. After saying we had pandemic 1 and we'll have pandemic 2, he says the next time we'll get attention. Right after he says it, he and Melinda Gates smile in glee at the carnage they're about to unleash on the rest of us. This is an article coming out of shtfplan.com. Watch Melinda Gates laugh as she talks about Ebola arriving in Lagos, a populous state, like it's hilarious people are going to get sick and die. Anyway. Now, the good news is, according to the CDC, COVID-19 is close to losing its epidemic status in the U.S. Coronavirus deaths in the country have reached a level where the virus will cease to qualify as an epidemic under Centers for Disease Control and Prevention rules. In other words, total numbers of death, rates of death, and everything have actually slowed to the point where they're going to say, well, it's serious, but it's not an epidemic. Apparently, over in Berlin, commuters are being told don't use deodorant in a bid to force fellow passengers to wear coronavirus face masks on public transportation. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think those face masks are going to keep your fellow mass transit riders' aroma from impinging on your nostrils, but they got to try and do something. All righty, let's get back to that whole Confederate flag woke statue thing. It really is very silly. The Pentagon has drafted new policy which would ban the display of Confederate flags at all Defense Department workplaces and public spaces after the Marines issued a similar order last month. Well, I can understand this one. These should be U.S. flags on U.S. military bases. But, in the private moments on private property, in their private time, this may be a little bit over the top. Violent crime is surging dramatically in major cities all over America. What we are witnessing all over the country right now is incredibly sad. In the aftermath of the tragic death of George Floyd, it would have been wonderful to see the entire nation unite behind an effort to make our society less violent, more just, and more peaceful. But instead, we've seen a tremendous explosion of violence and lawlessness that doesn't seem likely to end anytime soon. 4th of July weekend was particularly bad. At least 41 people were hit by gunfire in New York City during the holiday weekend, and this continues a trend that we've seen throughout the first half of 2020. Just check out the numbers. A lot of angry people out there. A lot of angry. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp takes strong action against violent protesters and authorizes up to 1,000 National Guard troops. This is following the events of the 4th of July holiday, which have the governor taking firm action. The city of Atlanta confirmed that 31 people were shot over the holiday weekend and that Atlanta police responded to 11 different shooting incidents between Friday, July 3rd and Sunday, July 5th. I'm wondering how many of those were accidental, caused by celebratory gunfire, because I heard people setting off actual firearms here. And unless you're relying on the cycling of an automatic or semi-automatic weapon, buy blanks. And you can, if you know where to go, get blanks that will actually cycle the action on a semi-automatic rifle without launching a missile down the barrel here. And I know because I saw those in use when I was working on Hawaii 5.0. And they're actually built like little tiny rocket engines rather than a bullet. And they'll fire and they'll kick back and the action of the gun will operate. Load a new one. Very, very cool. Okay, up in Ottawa, there is a memorial to the victims of communism, and it has been vandalized. It was spray painted with "Communism Will Win." And there were 3 pictures of the hammer and sickle to accompany the writing. This worries me because communism ultimately failed. That's what the Soviet Union was all about, a communistic country. And it was attractive to people who don't want to go out and try to excel, or who don't want to make the added effort. They just want to do the bare minimum to get by, and they get paid by the government, and they live out their lives, and they have a lot of vodka, and that's, the way it's going to be, lack of ambition. Communism is a great system when you have limited resources, but properly run capitalism, I think, does in the long run work better. Unfortunately, as we've seen in this country, capitalism can very quickly spin out of control into fascism. And the result is you have insanely rich people living amongst, very, very poor workers. And we shouldn't have that. So there has to be a third way where people who wish to excel are rewarded for that. But the bulk of the population, they've got a minimum subsistence. Keep them calm, keep them docile, if you will. Got to be a way to do that. Now then, here's an interesting little story. There is this Russian billionaire, Andrei Filatov, and he runs the Art Rus Foundation, which is focused on the preservation of Soviet-era art. He's made an offer to buy 2 statues from here in the United States of America that are slated for demolition. One of them is the statue of Theodore Roosevelt in front of the New York Museum of Natural History, and settler Alexander Baranov, who left a positive mark on his country. And he's just going to buy those 2 statues and ship them over to Russia and put them in St. Petersburg, Russia, where they'd be celebrated for the positive mark both men left on Russia. So, yeah, Let's not smash up the statues. If you really want them to go away, sell them. Sell them to somebody else who appreciates history, appreciates the art. Some of those statues are really very well done. And just being thrown onto the pavement here. As Democrats claim Trump defends monuments to protect Confederate traitors, the list of destroyed statues unrelated to racism grows. We talked about this the other day with the Frederick Douglass statue. The man was black. He was anti-slavery. He was pro-abolition. He was very famous for the speech that he gave on, I think it was July 5th, 168 years ago. You can't be more opposite of white slaveholder than Frederick Douglass, and they still tore his statue down. Rush Limbaugh was out there saying, these young people leading this whole woke movement, they have no idea of American history. Their head is just filled up with all this ideology. They've been spoon-fed by the schools, and they don't know how we came to be here and what people sacrificed to build this country that we have. So, apparently out in California, a woman painted over a Black Lives Matter street mural and has been charged with vandalism. It's funny how they can catch the ones painting over Black Lives Matter murals, but they don't seem able to catch the ones who are defacing the statues and the monuments, which I would expect would take a little bit longer. So what are we going to do about slavery? Well, slavery in this country, except for the 1040 form, is pretty much gone. And everybody wants to scream about the slavery that happened back before 1865. Did you know there's a lot of slavery in the world today? It's rampant in Africa and the Middle East. So how about all these woke people who are anti-slavery? Why don't you run back to Africa and the Middle East and fight the slavers there? Or is it just easier to stand in the streets of the United States of America and scream and convince yourself that you're changing the world that way? It was somebody, I'm trying to remember who it was, came on out and said, was the president of Ghana who issued an offer to American blacks that if they will come home to Ghana, that Ghana will pay their transportation costs. So far, not a lot of takers on that. But there is still slavery in the world today. Why aren't you doing anything about that? Here's a good question. Anybody's getting out there saying, oh, slavery's bad, slavery's bad. I agree, slavery's bad. There's slavery in the world today. Why are we complaining and talking about something that happened, hundreds of years ago? We can't fix that. All those people are dead and gone. All those slaves are dead and gone. All those slave owners are dead and gone. They are all equal now. Oh. Article came out of Truth to Power News. When considering reparations for blacks, keep in mind the massive scam that reparations for Jews always was. The issue of reparations and other compensation has been much in the news of late, most particularly in relationship to possible payments to descendants of slaves in the United States to compensate them for the disadvantages brought about with what is claimed to be a persisting racist culture in the country. Left unsaid, of course, are all the advantages of having grown up in the United States rather than still in Africa, in terms of their health, in terms of what education they are getting, and other opportunities. You're not going to see black athletes making millions of dollars over in Africa. It just doesn't happen. They want to look at the negative and say, you owe us money, even the descendants of people who never owned slaves. In my family's case, we ran a station on the Underground Railroad. Where's our compensation for our lost property, for getting beat up by the slave hunters? It's ridiculous. All of that stuff happened hundreds of years ago. Let it go. All right, we're going to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back after these few words.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in New York.
And welcome back to our show here. Now, Boeing's communications chief was recently forced to step down. There was this hysterical reaction by the woke crowd over an article he wrote that basically argued against allowing women into the military. The thing is, he wrote this article 33 years ago when the majority view was women should not be allowed in combat. And apparently the woke brigade is unable to see that people can evolve and change their views over time. So one misstep anywhere in your lifetime, and the woke crowd will tar you for life. Oh, back in 1956, he said this. Ooh, shame, shame, shame. March him through the street naked. Okay, let's see. In the piece he penned for the magazine of the U.S. Naval Institute, Neil Golightly wasn't flying the flag for neo-Nazis, nor was he extolling the virtues of pedophilia. It was a clumsy article about women in the armed forces that has done it for Golightly, making him the latest victim of self-righteous narcissists who patrol the world of gender politics with a take-no-prisoners attitude. Now, something I made, a comment I made the other day when we were talking about, there has to be room for redemption. If you believe something strongly and you stand by your beliefs, good for you for having that kind of courage. And if you keep the belief, that's fine too. But something, sometimes people change. And I would be willing to bet that everybody listening to this radio show right now, at some point in their past, they said or wrote or did something they would not do today. Why? Because they have grown. They have acquired wisdom. We should make allowance for the fact that everybody, when they're young, can be kind of stupid. There are things I did when I was young. I enjoyed them at the time. I wouldn't do them again. There are things I said when I was young that I regret and will not say again. But the woke crowd seems to have this zero forgiveness policy where you have to have lived your entire life according to whatever arbitrary rules they have set up before you're considered socially acceptable. Okay, Kanye West is apparently considering running for president in 2020, and he's already in trouble because he's missed key deadlines to get on the ballot in 6 states. Piers Morgan is out there saying, just when you think things for 2020 can't get any worse, along comes another unstable, race-baiting billionaire narcissist to turn the election into a farce that could benefit Donald Trump. For the love of God in America, Kanye, don't do it. All righty. Hard to imagine how 2020 could deteriorate any further in America. The world's greatest superpower has been brought to its knees by a pandemic that's infected nearly 3 million people and killed 132,000. The worst recession in nearly a century has cost tens of millions of jobs. The murder of a black man at the brutal knee of a racist cop has triggered mass protest, dogged by violence and looting, and a vicious culture war is erupting over much of the nation's history. Yeah, it's not feeling very good out there. All righty, turning to the international news here. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. is looking into banning TikTok and other Chinese social media apps amid security concerns. The idea is that TikTok is spying on people, and India has already banned them because they're cutting into the profits of our social media, I guess. So India's TikTok ban could help establish it as a major player in the tech world and cause big problems for the Chinese. As relations between the two countries deteriorate, India has banned 59 Chinese apps amid concerns over misuse of users' private data. Could the move set a template for other nations to follow? Amid rising tensions between India and China over the recent border confrontation and subsequent military buildup, the Indian government has banned 59 Chinese apps, including top social media platforms such as TikTok, Hello, and WeChat, citing threats they pose to the country's sovereignty and security. Oh, there we go. Apparently, there have been reports of misuse of users' private data by certain apps, which transmitted the data to servers outside India, including the Chinese government. So TikTok has strongly denied any of this is really happening. Meanwhile, the United Nations has slammed Donald Trump for killing the Iranian general Soleimani because there was insufficient evidence he was behind an ongoing or imminent attack. So the January drone strike in Iraq that killed top Iranian general Qasem Soleimani and 9 other people represented a violation of international law, a UN human rights investigator said on Monday. Okay, we're going to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back with more news after these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners, so that you can get involved in the activism. Please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Nikki, great product. Have to try it for a few months to see results. After taking Extendovite for about 6 months, I have noticed improvement on the numbness of my hands and wrists from carpal tunnel. I will continue to buy the product. Ken Peaks, 5 out of 5 stars. Works as advertised. This formula is very powerful. Be careful to follow directions. I am feeling much better. My heart rate and blood pressure has stabilized and my lower edema has reduced. Lower leg pain due to blood clots has disappeared. Thank you. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And welcome back to our show here now. Over in Iran, they're bragging that they have these new, what they call underground missile cities, and they're along the southern shores. This according to the IRGC commander. And what this may be is a face save because of the explosions at Natanz, which Iran says were caused by accident and set their nuclear program back a lot of years. Then they come back and say, but we're not concerned about being invaded because we have this other thing. You know, what is a missile city and why is Iran talking about this now? So they're saying the entire shoreline of Iran has these weapons, the apparently underground missile launchers, which is hardly a new idea. I remember when I was in San Francisco, they were running tours of this abandoned Nike site over on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. So Iran's armed forces have developed underground missile cities along the country's entire southern shores, including the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, says the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Brigadier General Alireza Tangsiri made the remarks in a detailed interview whose text was published on Sunday, noting that such cities accommodate both naval vessels and missiles. So they're talking tough again. Leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid al-Khamenei, Khamenei, has assured Palestinian resistance fighters that as ever, Iran always has their back and will not forsake its duty of confronting the occupying Israeli regime's evil nature. Ayatollah Khamenei addressed his remarks to Ismail Haniyeh, head of this political bureau of the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas, in a letter dated Saturday. Okay. There we go. So Iran as ever will spare no evil to fight off will spare no effort, rather, to fight off Israeli evil. I'm trying to do too many things at the same time. Anyway, Israel challenges Iran by launching a reconnaissance satellite into space. And Israel announced Monday it had successfully launched a reconnaissance satellite into space in its first experiment in this field. The announcement came from the spokesperson of the Israeli army, Avichai Adrai, who tweeted, "The Ministry of Defense confirmed that the Space Administration at the Research and Development Directorate and the Space Industries Authority succeeded in launching the Horizon 16 reconnaissance satellite into space at 4 a.m. Jerusalem time." Well, good. You know, it's a peaceful use of space. Maybe they'll catch the space bug. You know, I mean, they were trying to do that first private landing on the moon, which didn't work out. Maybe they'll catch the space bug and say, let's stop bashing the Palestinians. It's not worth the time. Let's go on out there. Hunt the Star of David on the planets or something. Apparently, Turkey has cut the water supply in Syria's Hasaka, and of course triggered huge amounts of thirst among the million people. So the thirst is threatening the lives of about 1 million people living in and around Syria's northeastern city of Hasaka as Turkish troops and allied militants continue cutting off drinking water supplies to the region by stopping a major border pumping station. A day earlier, Director General of Hasaka Water Company Mahmoud Al-Ukla said Turkish soldiers and militants backed by the government in Ankara had stopped Aluk Water Station on Saturday evening, and they'd barred workers of the station from entering the facility. I think this constitutes a war crime. And oh boy, is this going to kick up a bit of a fuss. Many of you are probably familiar with Hagia Sophia. This is in Istanbul. It is a mosque, which used to be a mosque, and now it's a church. And now Turkey wants to turn it back into a mosque. And it is amazing how people fight over these things a lot. So the Church of Hagia Sophia in Istanbul was, prior to the Turkish takeover of Byzantium in 1453, Constantinople's most famous church and center of the Orthodox Christian world. Under the modern Turkish state, it's gone from mosque to museum to protected UNESCO World Heritage Site, despite still being considered by Greece and Greek visitors, as well as Russian pilgrims, as a church. But now Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and lawmakers are eyeing changing its status back to a mosque, which has outraged Athens. Russia has also chimed in with both the Kremlin and the Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill, Kirill, condemning any potential move to turn Hagia Sophia into a mosque. Really get their dander up when these things are happening. North Korea has announced it does not intend to hold any more talks with the United States. And they rejected the possibility of restarting negotiations with the U.S. and accused Washington of embracing a hostile policy towards Pyongyang and disregarding agreements made at past summits. Well, don't take it personal. The U.S. treats everybody like that. Hostile policy and disregarding agreements. That's just what they do. So the DPRK said on Monday it does not intend to hold negotiations with the U.S. And frankly, I don't blame them. All right, China is still out there talking tough about the U.S. presence in the South China Sea. And they're touting what they call the aircraft carrier killer missiles, where they're out there saying that basically whenever they want, they can sink the USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Nimitz. And it's tough talk. All it's going to take is one hothead, and we're going to be in a shooting war down there. All righty, there we go. The carriers have been conducting flight drills since exercises commenced on July 4th. Nimitz Commander Rear Admiral James Kirk. Gee, I wonder what his parents' favorite TV show was. Rear Admiral James Kirk told reporters in a telephone interview, "They have seen us and we have seen them," in reference to a nearby Chinese flotilla. All righty, here we go. China pulls back from one disputed border, makes new claims on another. Now, you remember that section of the border with India where they had that bloody confrontation a few weeks back? Well, both sides have pulled back a little bit. They have basically created a buffer zone to try and calm things down. But Beijing has opened another front in the territorial disputes with a new claim in nearby Bhutan, saying that Bhutan is encroaching on their border. So Chinese and Indian troops both started to withdraw from some friction points in disputed areas along the two countries' Himalayan border. Okay, that's a good thing. Anytime you pull back from conflict, it's a good thing here. All right, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines, start taking phone calls here. Now, there is a study that finds many popular routers contain hundreds of known security flaws and are infrequently updated. This, I think, is part of what is called value engineering, which is in order to compete, they have to lower prices. In order to lower prices, they shortcut some of the manufacturing and safety tests. But apparently, the study conducted by Fraunhofer Institute for Communications, they assessed the firmware on 127 routers made by 7 different brands and found that many of the routers had literally hundreds of flaws. Even when firmware updates are loaded onto routers, which are opportunities to patch known security flaws, researchers say they often fail to fix known security errors. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a phone call. Don in Arizona. Aloha, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Don, are you there?
These guys that are... I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, you're on the air. You're on the air.
I wanted to comment about these guys that are calling you up to tell you how to pronounce names. The guy that told you that in France it's pronounced a certain way in France, but the point is she's not French. You know, and names change. There's no, in the first place, there's no one way to pronounce anybody's name at all.
True.
You can't look it up in a dictionary, and you know, Webster's Dictionary of Names or something like that. Now this guy.
Well, you know, I mean, my name's a good example. My name's a good example. It's spelled Michael, but my parents always pronounced it "Hey, stupid."
Right. Well, maybe they were trying to they're trying to motivate you, Mike. Probably. You know.
Didn't work.
She was. Most of the people, the expert, the foremost expert on Ghislaine, and it's pronounced. The independent media pronounces it Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what they all pronounce it.
Okay.
And I think even the mainstream media pronounces it that way. That must be the way she pronounces it. I don't know. You never know. There's different ways to pronounce it, but she's not French. She's British. Now,
yes.
This other guy that called you up and tried to tell you about Pompeo. Now, that's true. The mainstream media pronounces it Pompeo, but the names change. Whatever it was Italian or Greek, whatever that name was. When it comes to America, the names change a lot. Sometimes they're spelled different. Sometimes they're pronounced different. And again, there's no dictionary. It could possibly be that Pompeo has said he wants it pronounced that way. But on the other hand, we owe no respect to Pompeo, one of the worst deep state creatures that ever existed, right? You can pronounce it any way you want to, as long as we know who you're talking about. Now, another thing I wanted to say, this guy that did call you up and talk about Pompeo, I've noticed that he himself is a fraud. Every time he calls in, he'll give a different name because he has that distinctive Baltimore accent. You can tell he's the same guy every time. He has that Baltimore, Maryland accent.
Yep.
And he has the same attitude every time. He'll try to be friends with you. At the same time, he'll try to boss you around. He'll give a different name for himself every time in a different location. So he himself is actually some kind of a sociopath. Why would somebody do that? You know.
Well, I think and you know, we allow him on the show as an example for our audience to learn from. That this actually does go on.
Okay, that's about all I had to say, really, Mike. Thanks. I'll let you have the next call or whatever they're going to say. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot. And we're going to switch over to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How you doing there, Mike? Hey, Mike, a couple of things. One, we talked about China before. I don't know. Don't we have enough problems in this country right now? Just watching Tim Iverson earlier on YouTube describing how these billionaires have more and more money out of this thing, and people up and small business in the meantime went broke. They're trying to mess with China there in the South China Sea. That is none of our business. What goes on in the South China Sea is absolutely none of our business. Neither is the Koreas. None of these places around the world are our business, other than we need to start concentrating on the United States of America and our problems right here. We do not need to spend over $1 trillion for a so-called defense budget. It was really an imperial budget. We could actually cut that probably by 3/4 and still be safe. Nobody's going to invade this country.
No, not with our nuclear arsenal.
No, and we still have a Navy strong enough to ensure, freedom of the sea, something we're not assuring to other countries like Iran, Venezuela, and other places like that. The other thing is, this keeps on. They just keep on pushing and pushing this mask stuff, and then they want to push that up. Vaccine, they're spending $1.6 billion to some crooked pharmaceutical company for a vaccine that I think they would actually change our DNA, which would be devastating. Now, people aren't going to stand for this, Mike. They'll need that military over here to keep the peace in the United States, because people are not going to stand for this. Okay, there's no way I'm going to let them shove a needle up. They will have to shoot me before they do that. I'm talking about with bullets, not with a vaccine gun. Okay, there's no way, and I'm not the only one. There's many people who said no way. And if they start depriving people of their jobs over this, that's going to start some kind of rebellion or revolution. Okay.
Yes.
This country is in bad hands. We've got a bunch of crooks in both political parties, and yet it's still trying this war nonsense. 1 week it's Russia, and lies about them trying to kill American troops there in Afghanistan, and the next week it's back to China again. Okay?
Yes.
And of course, they always got to mess with Iran, and they always got to back up Israel, no matter how evil Israel acts, including what they're trying to do. How they want to assume the entire West Bank. Okay, they want to incorporate the entire West Bank. That's unacceptable. But then again, that's really none of our business either. If the Israelis want to do it, fine. Let them do it on their own, not with our money, and not with a guarantee of our troops. They think that they want to hold it like that and maybe take on the rest of the Middle East. Let them try, but it's none of our business. We need to stay out of these places, Mike.
Yes, I agree.
So many problems in this country. This country is broke now, okay, because of this stupid lockdown by this idiot president. But unfortunately, there's an even bigger idiot running against him. So really, what choice do we have? And by the way, when you talk about Kanye West, when I was watching Kim Iverson, she pointed out he was one of those billionaires that received money. Him and his big-butted wife, what's her name, Kim Kardashian, okay? They will both receive money themselves, all right, for their so-called business, okay, when he could have paid for the whole thing by himself. So really, we've got nothing. I'd like to see Ventura run, but evidently he doesn't want to do it. I would have loved to see, Jesse Ventura and Cynthia McKinney run as a team. I think that would have been good. But unfortunately, neither of them seem to want to run. So, we're stuck. I don't know where this country is going, Mike. I'm not very optimistic about the future, to be honest with you. Okay?
Neither am I.
I think when they keep on favoring the rich like this, they are inviting. You talk about communism, they're inviting communism. Communism isn't the biggest problem. The problem, Mike, is the globalists themselves. They're using everybody. The globalists are really Malthusians. They want to drastically lower the population of the world to 500 million, and maybe even less than that. They want to replace us all with robots. This is what's behind a lot of this stuff, like with restaurants and stuff like that. We'll have robots preparing your food. And it also comes to the thing about disbanding of police. I got a lot of problems with police departments, okay? You need to get rid of SWAT teams. You need to get rid of, you need to stop the militarization of police. But at the same time, to think you can just disband them is ridiculous. You need somebody.
I agree.
You need somebody to do the job. I mean, they could use private citizens, just like, say, like a jury duty, every couple of years or so you have patrol duties, but, that's not going to work. People aren't going to want to do that. So what they need, what they really want is to replace these police with robots. And they've got these robots just about ready to go. You've seen them on that Boston Dynamics.
Yes.
You've seen movies. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Chappie. All right.
Yes.
They're very, very close to having the point that something comes out of the police car next time it gets stopped, and it's a big robot. And that's what they want to do, Mike. And that's about it, I guess. Buddy.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for the phone call. We're going to let you go for commercials. Got more callers waiting on the line. Got more news when we come on back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company, and it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks?
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry, because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows, too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phone lines to Arjun in New Jersey. Arjun, welcome back to the show. What's on your mind today?
Thank you, Mike. I was listening to the last caller, and they were saying that
like we don't need any presence in the South China Sea. And,
Yes.
And I explained this construct previously. The construct there is nothing new. It has been there for the past 50 years. Like those, and US doesn't do it like out of the goodness of their heart. They actually get paid for it from all these
Yes.
different countries. So I mean, like there is a $3 trillion of trade that goes through the South China Sea, and there is a lot of gas and oil in that sea. So 30% of oil of the world goes through that sea, comes out from the sea, and there is a lot of gas. What China wants to do is like China wants to occupy the whole sea. It says that like the whole sea is mine, and they call it as like 9 dashed lines. They refer to it as like 9 dashed lines, and they say that like there is no other country can actually claim this. Everything is mine. So that's why U.S. military ships are there, and right now China is expanding right now. So if it will not actually create, so for example, like the recent, like you have to push them back. They will not go back just by themselves. You have to push them. You have to slap them and push them back. So, for example, the recent problem that they had on the Indian border, what was so in 20 of the Indian soldiers got killed. They killed like close to 42 of them, and they are never reported in their news. And they actually try to hide that, and they will try to spin the story, and they will never actually show the funerals even of these soldiers and whatnot. So what I'm trying to say is that like they will keep on doing these things, like on the Indian border, they will keep on doing these things, like the countries which they can occupy, they will actually put them in debt. Like for example, Pakistan, like recently Sri Lanka, they actually constructed a port for them, and they took it for 99 years lease, and it's called like Harman Tota. And they said, like Sri Lanka said, like we cannot actually afford this, like so they said, like okay, we will take it for 99 years, and we will actually put like our military bases there. So there are close to 50 to 52 different countries, like which China actually pays, and like what they do is like they try to change their ethnicities, like whosoever, like people like for example, like if we talk about like Muslims, like I don't care much for Muslims, but like there are Muslims that actually exist in China. So what they do is like they have them marry like Chinese people, and then like so the offsprings that comes out, they are more Chinese, and they are trying to change their Qurans and things like that. But this thing is happening in many different countries. So what I'm trying to say is that like everything is not U.S. government's fault. There are other countries, there are other expansionists that are actually doing like extremely harmful things. Like for example, if we talk about like Hong Kong, they have eaten up Hong Kong. Like they until 2047 they were supposed to wait and then only make any change to the Hong Kong laws, but they have thrown those books out. Now India blocked like 59 apps. Like these apps like TikTok. Like, and there are 59 apps. Like they can actually talk to your mobile, different apps. And like what happens is that everything is like it's not a democracy in China. So the thing is that like I hear the music.
Yeah, the music is coming. We're going to have to let you go and take a break for station identification. Thank you. We've got more callers waiting on the line when we come back to hour number 2.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
Welcome back to our show here, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, and we're going to go back and take a phone call from Andy in Texas. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, hi, Mike. I just want to talk. I got two topics, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
I'm sure I missed you. You got so many different pronunciations of that name, but we'll go with Ghislaine Maxwell. I think she's just another rotten chicken leg tossed to the people. I mean, how do we know she's in jail right now? We don't know. We've been told by the mainstream media that she's in jail. Brooklyn police said she's in jail. You call up, they say he's in jail. We don't know this. Just like we don't even know if Epstein was ever in jail. We have no idea if any of that happened.
I think Epstein is still alive.
I agree with you. And this is the reason why I believe. Because, I'm sorry, alternative media, we just don't have the reporters out there. We don't have everybody there grabbing the story. And we are not privy to the information. Information is released from the Department of Defense, the Department of whatever's in New York, the police department. They don't release information to you don't find yourself down there or We Are Changed down there. You don't even see Alex Jones's big-ass network down there getting interviews, exclusive interviews of what's going on. So we have to take what's coming from the mainstream media as what's going on, and then we have to deduct from that. And then we get bits and pieces from different websites, from Breitbart or whatever, and we have to agree that this is the truth that's going on. So I don't believe anything that's going on. I think Ghislaine Maxwell is just another chicken leg handed to us from another rotten chicken, and somehow she's going to disappear. Let's not forget, all the world is staged. All the media is a Hollywood production. Much of what we hear on today's mainstream media is just a narrative that these people want to sell to us. And I think a lot of alternative media picks that up. I'm not saying you, Mike, you do your research. I get it. I also want to go on to Donald Trump here. And I want people to realize, we got all these people that are just on Donald Trump's. Okay, let me just go with this. Donald Trump is here to appease us through this destruction. If you think not, well, figure this out. If they wanted to get rid of Donald Trump, why not? Why do they need his tax reforms? Why? Just ask him how come he was able to declare bankruptcy twice, as a billionaire the first time, bankruptcy, and then he becomes another billionaire in bankruptcy again. And Shadle Elderson is his Jewish bailout. Okay, so why impeach him for COINTELPRO when executive orders are legal? I.e., executive orders only apply to the government. They don't apply to the people. You can only put out executive orders to the government. It's the same thing with this California and the Texas, all these executive orders. You got to wear a mask. The beaches are closed. No. Your executive orders only apply to the employees that you are in charge of. You can't declare this on the people. Okay, so we can impeach all these people, but why don't we impeach him for that? Okay, and why do we need to see his tax reform? Why not impeach him for Soleimani's death? He had no right to do that. Why not impeach him for airstrikes in Syria without Congress's approval? Why not question his authority to authorize Jerusalem as the capital of Tel Aviv? Why? What declaration of Congress did we receive from Congress to declare the Golan Heights as Israel's right, authority, and where? And who gives us the authority to give them the right to declare them? Why not impeach him on the red flag laws? Why not impeach him on all of the laws that we are not subject to, that he's imposing on? All these different laws that he's not stepping up. He's the president. So I hereby declare this president's null and void. He is just a COINTELPRO president. Why not impeach him for the failure to uphold the rights of the people during the pandemic? He's not the boss. Look at Israel. If you want a leader, we have to look at Israel, and that's where this whole thing goes to. We're being led by. I'm sorry. It's not all Jews. Zionist Jews, the bankers. And you look who owns the banks. The bankers are owned by the people who've been kicked out of 109 countries throughout their entire country, and they're still pretending like they're the victim. And if you want to know who your boss is, people, look at who you cannot criticize. Currently, right now, you can't criticize black people, but they're not your boss. Who gave them the right? The Marxists. Who are the Marxists? They are the Jewish Zionist people who own our banks and our country. Now, trust me, they do own our country. Now, think about this. We have got, holy crap. Okay, so Bilderberg has been meeting all these years, but you think that's the only meeting they meet? We go protest at Bilderberg meeting. It's either in Europe or it's in West Virginia or whatever. And we go protest these people, but that's not the only time they're meeting. And that's the only time we shouldn't be protesting. But these people.
Well, there's the Bohemian Grove. Don't forget the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, exactly. That's a very big one. However, look at the consolidation. Remember when they cut down AT&T? They broke them up. And it was Ma Bell, AT&T bought them all, and they broke them up because it was a monopoly.
Yes.
Okay, so now they've been able to disinclair a monopoly. Look at what PepsiCo owns. Look at what Coca-Cola owns. Look at what Exxon owns. They don't just own their oil. They don't just own their Pepsi products. PepsiCo is the reason why Uncle Ben's is gone, because they own them. Quaker Oats is gone. That's why they own them. These people own it. Everything's been consolidated. This is Bilderberg, people. This is Bilderberg. Everything has been consolidated, in which we were told back in the day, oh, there can't be no monopoly. Well, they got around the monopoly because Quaker Oats and communications don't go together. Quaker Oats and Pepsi don't go together. So they bought all these different companies and brought them all together in one compilation and called it PepsiCo. And I'm staying on PepsiCo because that's the one I know what about. But they've consolidated everything. And that's why we're getting this. That's why you're getting rid of Uncle Ben's rice. You get rid of Aunt Jemima. PepsiCo. Just those guys in general. I mean, they're taking everything that has to do with Black Lives Matter or whatnot. If you don't think you're being pushed into a race war, you're stupid. But if you do believe you're being pushed into a race war, you don't have to do it. Okay? Because most of the people that are black, they don't believe in all this stuff. It's only the ones being paid by the George Soroses and the PepsiCo companies. And all these different companies, they put all their money. Well, I'm guessing Wendy's screwed up. And I'm also guessing Pizza Hut screwed up because they filed bankruptcy just last week. So I'm guessing they're not paying enough or they just want to go out of business. So we got to look at this in a manner in which corporations have come together, and I believe it has a lot to do with those annual meetings they've had, but they've had several other meetings and stuff. But look at all the big bar stores. They're the ones that are open, and the little stores are going away, and guess who's buying it up? Well, guess who owned that property in the first place? That's why they shut them down, because they own the leases to these places. All these downtown places in like San Francisco, New York, and all this stuff, all these buildings were owned by somebody. People are leasing them to put their businesses in there, and they can shut the power off. They can shut everything off. This is the complete consolidation of power here. We're not going to have choices here in a minute. It's probably not going to have food in a year. with all the food waste and whatnot, I called in a long time ago, about a month ago, and told you we're going to have food shortages. And I've been watching videos left and right where food's being buried in the ground, it's going away. They're being paid to get rid of their stuff. They're even being paid to stop milking their cows.
Well, they can't stop milking the cows. They may have to throw the milk away, but you can't just stop milking a cow or the cow explodes.
Oh, you're right there, because the cows will die on the spot. But again, they don't really care about that. This is a big takeover, and it has everything to do with depopulation. And you want to know the key players? Well, Anthony Fauci is a Facebook, and so is Bill Gates in some respects, because the big winners here are the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and those people who own our central bank. And people, your central bank is not Federal Reserve. It's not a central bank. It's not owned by us. It's a for-profit business, and we're getting screwed. And guess what? They gave out the $2.2 trillion was the last rate. It was $6.2 trillion, but only $2.2 trillion went to the relief of the people. But out of the $2.2 trillion, if you add all this up, I did the math, $1,200 per person in this country only comes to like $364 billion. Where did the other trillion and a half dollars go?
Andy, I need you to kind of sum up and bring this to a conclusion. I mean, you've been ranting all over the place, and we've been listening, and you've got a lot of good information. But I'm hoping there's a point at the end of all of this.
The point at the end of this is that if you people out there don't have some way to have some food in the next few months, if you did not plant a garden, or you don't have chickens, or you don't have cows, and I don't have any of that, so I'm going to be one of the guys going down. But if you don't have something solid in your life, if you're not living in a rural farm, and this is for most of the people in the city, get the hell out of this city. That's all I got, Mike. Have a good day.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go and switch over to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome back to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Michael, good day. You know, that's not that guy, that last guy in, he sounded like me, and I said, now I hear what I'm sound like on the radio. That guy was faster than I was. Wow.
Yes.
That guy took a triple shot at ginseng, it looks like. But he gave some information, but, and by the way, Michael, I think with Pillsbury Doughboy, now they're going to turn the eyes brown, and he's got to get a little tan to Pillsbury Doughboy. So just so you know, he's not going to have no more blue
Put him
eyes.
in the oven long enough, he'll get brown. You put him in the oven long enough, he'll get black.
And he'll be going, hee, 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 hee. So anyway, Michael, here's what I really want to talk about. And Andy hit on something, but before I go there, I want to go about the Civil War. I was doing some research on the Civil War, Michael. During the Civil War in 1860, there was 31,298,000 people in this country in 1860. In 1865, of course, we lost almost 1 million men in battle, over 1 million men in battle. The black community at that time made up 2.7% of the population. There was 2.6 million in the South, and the rest were free slaves in the North. So it came out to 3,964,000 slaves were totally in the United States. It never hit the figure of 4 million. That's another lie the media's been lying about. It got close, but it never got to 4 million in 1865 when Grant won the battles. And another thing about the battles, Michael, I was looking at the 10 bloodiest battles in the Civil War. You know that 6 of them were actually won by the Southerners, beat the Northerners as far as casualties?
Yes.
The South actually beat the North in a lot of these battles, the 10 bloodiest battles in casualty numbers. But of course, they end up losing the war because they got this. They didn't have the manufacturing. They had the bullets and the guns. They just didn't have. They got overwhelmed in the end when Sherman burnt down Atlanta and all that in the South. But Michael, getting back to what's actually going on with Antifa and Black Lives Matter, we have to realize that these people are being funded with big money, multiple billion. I mean, this is $1 billion operation. The 3 people who founded Black Lives Matter are 3 women. 2 of them are lesbians, for sure. Okay? They're big-time Marxists. Nobody in the media is talking about that except One American News, Fox a little bit, nobody else. Every major network's been bought out, Michael. Every major network's been bought by Zog.
They're afraid.
Control it. Just like Sludge, Matt Sludge is a big-time race baiter. That Matt Sludge here, like I told you in the past. And, that last caller you had, he's got a point. all your callers should go out there and try to get 5 acres of property somewhere, and they have build a little pond or a farm or cows or whatever. Smart move. That's what I've done. I've done that 30 years ago. I knew this was coming down the pike. But I will say, and there's some good property here in northern Florida, Mike. If you know anybody who wants to get good land deals, there's some really nice property in northern Florida. So just so you throw that out to you. Steve Elkins probably knows that. But another thing is what's going on with this whole media cabal. They are trying to get us in a race war. But like your last caller said, you got to be prepared. And here in Florida Sun Sentinel, Michael, they're talking about some of these truck drivers and these mayors in South Florida here. They know if they get shot at with some high-powered rifles, these tanker trucks, or the food, the rigs that bring on the food, it's all bets off. You could have cities getting no food into them. I mean, you're talking about all-out rioting, no food, no fuel, and these truck drivers are not going to tolerate any kind of assassination attempts against their lives. They're not going to do it. They're just going to say no way, we'll walk off. And so the cops, even look what's going on in Kentucky. You saw the police officers that resigned from the police force in Louisville. 248 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, 200. Yeah, so it was on the news. They're walked off in Louisville. The police are just I mean, a lot of these cities, the police are just walking off the job. They're basically saying, give me my pension. I'm out of here.
Yep.
And so you saw what happened at Stone Mountain, Georgia. I'm sure you saw that video. So we're going to look at a disaster if Biden wins. And I believe he's going to pick this, what's her name? Susan Rice as his VP, either her or Kamala. I don't believe it's going to be Michelle Obama. It could be. I could be wrong. I don't know, Michael. What's your opinion on that? Who do you think it will be the VP for imbecile Biden? 98-year-old brain.
I don't think it's going to be Michelle. She's not pulling the numbers. I think it could be Kamala Harris. I just want to make sure it's not Hillary Clinton.
Yes, I hope you're right. Hey, Michael, back to your one caller, the last caller, Andy. I want to make something very clear to him. Bill Clinton was an impeached president. Okay, they didn't do nothing to him. He got reelected. Okay, Andy. Another thing, Andy. You're right about what you're saying, some things, but I'll tell you right now, Donald Trump's doing better than any president we've ever had in our lifetime as far as immigration. Andy, do you see anybody getting arrested? All these Democrats getting arrested for sanctuary cities? You see any mayors, Democrats getting arrested for the murder rates in their cities? These people should all be held in solitary confinement for what they have done to this country with immigration, 40 million illegals, 8 million in California alone and growing by the day, Andy. So, you want to talk about Donald Trump. Let's talk about all the filthy Democrats that have allowed our invasion of our country. Let's talk about this, Andy. Bill Clinton was an impeached president, has sex in the White House with Monica Lewinsky. She made $10 million off a book. Okay, Andy? And Hillary, I don't know who she was with. She was with Janet Reno. So I don't know what's going on. And then this Mad Maxine Maxwell was at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. And Bill Clinton and her were going to Starbucks sneaking out. So Bill Clinton, while Jeff Epstein was with these young girls, who do you think Maxwell was with, Michael? She's with Bill Clinton. Because Hillary's already said she hasn't been with the guy for 25 years. Bill Clinton was with Maxwell. That's what's going on with this dark state, this deep state, and all this cabal. Bill Clinton's probably with Maxwell, while Epstein's with these young 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old teenage girls. He wasn't in love with Maxwell. She was the mad end that was setting up everything.
Yes.
Okay? Whose father worked for Mossad. So who's kidding who here? Now, the guy Andy's saying, oh, Trump. Yeah, Trump's. Look, I got to tell you one thing that's really got me upset, Michael. You know how much Donald Trump's already paid in taxes in his lifetime? And he might have still went plain bankruptcy. But when I read on his records, he already paid $428 million since he's been paying taxes. Well, you know what? They should cut that off. Any billionaire, after they pay $300 million, you shouldn't have to pay no more taxes. Why? So all your money goes to a bunch of illegal aliens? Why would Trump want to keep paying hundreds of millions of dollars for the Democrats to spend his money for illegals and all this Black Lives Matter nonsense and Antifa? No, there should be a cutoff. When you're a billionaire, you pay $300 million. That's it. You're done. Your tax bills pay for the rest of your life. Okay, He's paid $425 million, Andy. How much more? And that's not we don't know how much he's paid up till now, but I know I've read articles where Trump's paid in his lifetime till they edited him. I think it was 2009. He paid up at that time $28 million, Mike, something like that. Astronomical amount of money, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, if you're paying that kind of money, income tax, and there should be a cutoff, even if you're a billionaire. I mean, how much money? What do they want these guys to spend billions of dollars And some of these guys, they don't want their
Yeah,
money
but
going for
Tom,
illegal
there's
aliens and
a
all this other
problem.
crap.
Tom, there's a problem in that cutting off the taxes for the billionaires only increases the wealth differential. And wealth inequality is a big, big problem in this country right now. Anyway, listen, thank you for the phone call. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be back with more phone calls after these few words.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model EZ4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new EZ4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
Yes, my mistake here. I had the pot down. Anyway, a reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network is in a perpetual state of fundraising, and we can't do what we're doing without your help and support, is really what it comes down to. And if you all stop, we go away. It's that simple. And then you'd have to listen to hip-hop music instead of us speaking truth to power. Anyway, the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity, cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. And of course, whatreallyhappened.com could use some more donations, and there's a button to do that on the main page. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones now to Lloyd in South Carolina. Hello, Lloyd. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, the usual stuff: death, grief, sorrow, murder, followed by a fashion show.
I want to go ahead and start with not all hip-hop is bad. Just the stuff on the radio is not hip-hop nowadays, not even remotely. And I'm only 33, so yeah. But that's not what I called about. I would like to express just, a great deal of gratitude because I listened to the monologue with the about the fun, the donating for the first time in its entirety as I was on hold, and I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right, and I just want to throw that out there. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, the consciousness level was raised, not just solely to RBN, but definitely. I mean, give me a break. It's a family. Like, we're a web. We are. But Dr. Rashid Buttar, this is what I call it. Dr. Rashid Buttar, literally, I believe is got to be one of the voices of reason as well. And I just don't know why no other doctor or medical professional has came out with such veracity,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, just, so the word in itself is debilitating. Way worse than the disease itself. The literal word will send someone in shock. I have and just to keep anonymity, and I have a friend who's someone in his household has experienced a close contact with someone with COVID
Yes.
at work. And he, it was his mom, so he said, hey, what's going on? And as I tried to explain, I just killed it. As I tried to explain, it's just, the word itself is debilitating. Like, how do you feel? You feel fine. Okay. No temperature, no cough. Okay. So you should have been taking multivitamins already, right? Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not everyone is on to the colloidal silver and the elderberry and the vitamin C. Not everyone's privy to that. Not if you're not down with the RBN crew. We know about this stuff. So I'm not saying we're immune to it, but I do feel an extra layer of shield when I take my silver in the morning and my elderberry, a whole cocktail, man, selenium, the whole cocktail, and down it all with some high alkaline water and go about your day. We shouldn't be kissing up on each other anyway, but the mask thing, the stress it puts on my body, I can feel that too.
Yes.
You can feel it. You can feel it. Environments where it's quote unquote required. So now the mother in the story is just debilitated and doesn't have a symptom in sight. And that's the word, and that's the ignorance of not doing your own research, like the caller before said. Do your own research. Like, I found Dr. Buttar through, the IDW and just free thinkers, and he's not the only one, but that's where I found him. So if I'm going to quote someone, if someone says, hey, did you hear about, what's going on with the numbers and the cases? I'm like, hey, what's your source? They're like, the CDC, WHO. I'm like, who? Who is your source? The same people that are killing you? You're waiting for them to tell you when you're going to feel better? Okay, that makes perfect sense.
I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying. And, it surprises a lot of people that CDC is not a government organization. It's a private company, for profit, and they own the patents on a lot of these vaccines they're insisting we all take.
I believe, Mike, that the vaccine, or, the vaccine, will be a biomarker. So check this out. Put your hand under the light. If the light reacts to the biomarker under your skin. You can eat here, shop here, work here, play here, stay here. If you don't, i.e., you didn't take the vax, well, you know, there's no reaction to a body. It'd be so easy for them to do that, implement that, and slide that in there. With the
Yeah,
biomarker.
well, that's definitely coming next. Anyway, Lloyd, I got to let you go. We got to take another break for commercials. More phone calls when we come back from these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Nikki, great product. Have to try it for a few months to see results. After taking Extendovite for about 6 months, I have noticed improvement on the numbness of my hands and wrists from carpal tunnel. I will continue to buy the product. Ken Peaks, 5 out of 5 stars. Works as advertised. This formula is very powerful. Be careful to follow directions. I am feeling much better. My heart rate and blood pressure has stabilized and my lower edema has reduced. Lower leg pain due to blood clots has disappeared. Thank you. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
Welcome back to our show here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, and we're going to go back to Todd in Long Beach. Hello, Todd. Welcome to the
Sorry,
show.
that mailbox is full. Thank you for calling.
Okay, well, then let's switch over to Steve Elkins. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I heard heard one of the listeners talking about why physicians are holding back, not coming forward and telling the truth. And if you've listened to Tom Rogers, who's called in, who's a retired pathologist, if you want to know the truth, I think he's correct when he says you need to talk to the guy and he works in the basement. Because the information, the true information is right there, but when it goes up the channels and trickles up, it changes to somebody's agenda. A lot of stuff is left out. And I think a lot of physicians are just being pressured to keep silent. They're worried about their own economic futures. They're being threatened by medical boards to say your license will be taken. They're near retirement, and they're simply going along to get along until they can get the heck out. I've met many physicians who have said, I can't wait to get out.
Yeah.
I think when they do get out, then they'll spill the beans on what's really going on the inside, but they're not going to jeopardize their futures right now. I think that's what's happening right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking here with our control room about what happened to Todd in Long Beach and if he's still on the line or not. So, yeah, I can understand. I mean, you know, medical school is kind of like this major indoctrination where it's more about pushing. There we are. It's more about pushing prescription medications and treatments. You know, and I had a friend of mine who was a doctor who said their hospitals where they had privileges judged them not on how many people they cured or made better, but how much money they brought in. And the doctors who brought in the most money were the ones who got the senior positions.
That's right. Yeah, natural medicine, holistic medicine is if they even get a touch of that in med school, I doubt it, because that's conflicting the business interest of the pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
It's not going to happen. So their job is to basically, that's why they send drug reps out to the hospital to pitch a new drug.
Yes.
If you notice, watch those TV commercials. They always got the young people, and they're all smiling, all happy. Notice that the drugs, notice that the disease processes that they have at that time at a very young age, which we used to see with a lot of elderly. Now the younger getting it, and the smiles, and you're all going to be cured here. And then they give you a long, long list of all the side effects and potential problems you'll have with this medication, which far exceeds the problems that you already have. So, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Cure is worse than the disease.
There's no money to be made in cures. No money in cures. No money in cures.
Goldman Sachs said it's a bad business model. You know, the money is in constant ongoing treatments. I wonder if they actually have a race out there in the advertising agencies as to who can talk the fastest for those disclaimers at the end of the pharmaceutical commercials. And they're off and running down the road, you know. And
can they put it in any smaller print? And then can they put it in any smaller print so you can't read it?
Well, I'm lucky. I have an electronic microscope. All right. Well, thanks an awful lot here. We're going to go back and see Todd in Long Beach. Hello. Welcome to the show. What was on your mind?
Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call. Well, I'm going to say it again. I said it a while back. I think you remember my conversation. I said, look at the children of the politicians that will be going against Trump.
Yes.
Those will be your downfall again for the next race.
Okay.
You heard it from me first. You heard it from me first, because the past is the present is the past. Well, you know, all these politicians, the Bidens, the Reeds, the Clintons, and all of them have children. Whether or not they're illegitimate in their own or not is another question. But the point is they have children, and they are going directly into politics via the back door, you know, of, you know, hey, let's go, what is that thing? Lobbyists. They become lobbyists, you know, and the Reed, you know, the Reed children made several $1 billion to the Tricom Charlies, stealing all the farms, hence the Bundy Ranch whole fiasco. Let's never forget this stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And even back to the past of Waco and Ruby Ridge, because of the attachments to these events. I really think that events and who's involved are going to be a bigger product of political savvy people in the next election, and saying, okay, Well, and I can also, I can honestly say I'm not a Trump fan. I think the guy is an arrogant man. But let me just say this. You can't get stuff done being a pacifist. That's for darn sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said, the presidency of the United States is very hard job. I don't know if I'd want it. Okay. Because the sellouts, the buyouts, and all the other stuff. But let's go back to this race, because I really think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be the clown freak show from hell.
Yes.
I think you're going to see a lot, like I said, a lot of politicians' children's, which they have tried to shield, but they can't no longer. The heroin addict Hunter Biden and the Paul Pelosi's and the Reed children, which there are 3, I think, that are involved in this crap. And you look at where they spend their money and what they do, these people are freaky D people. I mean, literally, I wouldn't even sit down and eat a McDonald's hamburger with them, regardless of the fact that McDonald's hamburger is crap, but I wouldn't even sit down and eat a hamburger with them. And that is even including current president, because I have a thing in my life that if I can't trust you, I may not have the feelings of likability towards that thing or person. And we have been lied to so much. We've been thugized, I call it, thugized, and thuggy is actually, from India. We've been literally backstabbed in everything by the police, that we pay their every bill they have the moment that they become a policeman. And they forget that we pay for all their children and their wives, and for their medical, their dental, their health, their everything from cradle to grave. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, because I've had these children, and it correlates to the politician children, that the correlation is they have this arrogance that they're untouchable too. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I've hired children of police, and I've never seen such arrogance. And, I will say this, the rooster has come home to roost on these dudes and gals that have hidden so much for so long, the gaslighting, the gas lamping, the rendition houses that are on every big city. We all now know that's in the budget.
Yep.
For the police to have these rendition buildings. Okay. Chicago was found out via, that big one that was on the corner. And they had to literally, it went so ballistic on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, that they literally had to shut it down. Thank God. Okay.
Yes.
But see, this has been going on too long. And it's not, and I have to say this in all perspective. Look, did Trump start all that? No. Hell no. He's only been in office 4 years. This is policy that has been in since after the death of JFK, this new policing of thuggism, rolling up on people with the 7'2" guy, all tatted up. And you think, my God, this is a cop. He looks like a thug, And now let's get to what this political race is going to be. It's going to be a meltdown like you've never seen. I mean, not only the children, but bumbling Biden will literally step on his wee-wee every time he opens his mouth. It will be a clown freak show. That's where you'll get the clown. And then the freak show will be the reply that Trump has, because it's going to come anyways, because Biden is such a goof. Okay, we all can see that. We see everything. Those that are awake are like so neutral that it's not like you're hot or cold. You are hot or cold. Like, we're hot for patriotism. We're hot for our freedoms. We're hot for fiaffament and unlawfulness of star chambers and vehement courts and religious ideology that says, oh, well, for instance, like the Muslims want Sharia law. No, I don't think so. I don't like that stuff. Genitalia mutilation and all the other crap that goes with it. Okay. We have to come to a point in this country with what makes us tick as a nation. What do we want? I know that what I want to keep my money. You know, there's this guy called the Nomad Capitalist. Everybody knows who this dude is. I'm not going to even say his name. But he has his saying is, go where you're treated best.
Yes.
Well, how come that here in the United States, we're supposed to be, quote unquote, the best country in the world, but we can't even keep the very shirt on our back because either some politician or rah-rah siskumba capioli capo wants to come and roll up on you and say, hey, you know what? We think you owe something for this, that, and the other, and we're going to take you in for a felony. Well, you know, those days should stop. The really people that only need to be in there are the people that rape women or boys or children or other people and murderers and axe handle, you know, people killing people and stuff like that. This soft crime stuff, some of it is just outrageous and egregious, and the police have let it go on for far too long because they've lobbied for it. Let's not piddle around with the facts. They did. They lobbied for mass incarceration. And now they're weeping, willowing, crying because the rest of the masses have woken up to the game. And we're like, no, why should you send my child to prison because he smokes a joint? When your children are more arrogant and probably do more drugs behind your back than the people you're throwing in jail for. And yet you can't even keep your own house in order, but yet you're going to come out here and police the streets. I have a real hard problem with that, Mike, and I think you know that the days of policing have to change. We're the only country in the world where we shoot fleeing people in the back.
Yes.
Okay. That goes back under Obama. How many times did that happen under Obama? People fleeing from the cops and they're just shot dead. And then had it not been for a camera phone, okay, they would have never been incarcerated. I think you know the one, I think it was in Minnesota, that last one was before this one, a couple summers ago. Remember that? Remember?
Yep.
White guy shooting a black guy in the back, okay? You know, it's ridiculous. They are militarized with MRAPs. And some departments even have APCs, tracked APCs that can literally flatten your whole entire house because they weigh 40 tons. Okay, they do weigh 40 tons. They're like a tank. Okay,
yes.
And we're kidding ourselves to think that, oh well, it's like they're just waiting for a moment for you to screw up to take in the soft crime instead of saying, you know, this is a baloney law, and I'm not going to enforce it anymore. As a matter of fact, boom, it's off the record. I don't even care. I'll give a warning, and I don't care if I have to give multiple warnings. Say, hey, calm down, come on. Just Mayberry days to the states of the United States of America need to come back.
Yes.
Because, in my opinion, there is no trust for the police. There's every bygone, nasty cliche word on the book out there all over Instagram. There is no respect, nor will there be until they clean house. And I know those rat bastards, the ones that are the rat bastards, are listening. I know they do. And I don't have anything nice or indwelling in my emotions or anything for them. They get their comeuppance, and I hope they get them hard. I really do, because we have paid. I mean, when you put someone in prison for growing ganj, let's just say, okay,
yes.
which is now 1/3 to 1/2 of everyone in prison across the United States, okay, it is drug related. I'm just using one area of drugs, and I don't even consider marijuana a drug. It's a plant, for God's sake, okay? It's a plant, okay? And you know, they're dealing, like on the Last Prisoner Project, they're dealing with this guy up in Michigan doing a life in prison over selling, I think what it was, 2 or 3 pounds versus these Antifa that have just murdered an 8-year-old.
Yes.
We have a dichotomy of justice because it is one-sided. Nobody can ever tell me ever again that we have a justice system in the United States that's fair and balanced. It's a lie and it's propaganda. Because if it is, you would see a lot of people of color not be in prison. Instead, maybe there might be like 15 to 30 prisons across the U.S. shut down, and the capos and all the other people that are involved in running those told, find another job. You find a new livelihood. All those people that are incarcerated, we're now converting all these to rehab centers with no cell doors. We're melting them all down, and we're selling the metal to steel workers or whoever, okay? And we're making courtyards, farmyards, and the whole rest. Until we stop this mass incarceration and get the wicked judges who for the last 50 years have been put in place. This is before Trump, let's admit it. This is where all this incarceration comes from. Nobody can say Trump did that. That's one thing that they can say about him. All this incarceration came from
Hey, we need to wrap up here. We need to wrap up. We're at a commercial break.
Okay. So I'm just saying that I think that you're on the ball, but I think that it's going to be either the law for everyone, including the politicians' children, or there is no law. None whatsoever.
All right. Well, thank you for the phone call. We got to take a break for advertisements, and we'll be right back with another phone call.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show Redfield Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners, so that you can get involved in the activism. Please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff Remember, keep it real and take a red pill.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what really happened?
Welcome back to our show here. And a quick little note, of course, after my show is over, and this is the last segment of our show today, John Stadmiller comes on with his show. And his guest today is Dr. Jane M. Orient, who's the executive director of the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons. So that's going to be a really interesting show. So please stay tuned for that one. We're going to go back to the phones to Mark in Georgia. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? One, I'd like to get the proper legal reference for the ADA. Now, correct me if I'm mistaken, it not only applies to patrons of a business that cannot be obliged to wear a mask, it also applies to, that's the GPS chirping off. It also applies to employees cannot be obliged to wear a mask. And I'm concerned. I see a lot of employees like, well, the boss told me I had to. And I want them to know, according to this, and I'm just wondering, the $75,000 fine, does that go to the government or does that go to the plaintiff who says, excuse me, you said I have to wear a mask and this piece of legislation says, no, I don't, and you owe me $75,000. I don't want to get all opinions about it, but I do want to give them fair warning that, excuse me, you keep going on this path of claiming that, to me, the CDC has, medically speaking, and I don't claim to be a doctor or a proctologist or anything, but to me, do-it-yourself brain surgery is more highly rated than trusting the CDC that has a Dun & Bradstreet number that's there listed as a private for-profit corporation. I don't know if you know that Dun & Bradstreet number, but this is a piece of information you can put to skeptics and say, here's the Dun & Bradstreet number that you can look up on their website, and it shows that, yes, the CDC, and by the way, this is typical of all government agencies, are typically listed with Dun & Bradstreet as private for-profit corporations because of the basically the wrong way. No, I had to turn around again. But anyway, the thing is, if we can look up the Dun & Bradstreet number and explain to people that the CDC, I was reading that article, and right at the very last item was where the CDC used children, disabled children, as guinea pigs for measles vaccine research. And, you know, I was like, how are we any better than Hitler's Germany, where they euthanize people for, you know, useless eaters? And I'm like, yeah, well, I got news for you. We're not any better than they are. We have a better PR complex of the way things are going. But the Dun & Bradstreet number for the CDC, or Ted Brockman called it on The Simpsons, the Center for Disease Disinformation, I think is a more apt title for them. And beyond that, let's see. Yeah, the title, section, and paragraph of the ADA. Now, am I correct in understanding that employees cannot be obliged to wear a mask according to the ADA?
There is no legal method for forcing people to wear masks. There's no law that's been passed along that line. It is simply being urged. And obviously, if you work in an environment where you have management above you and management says wear them, well, you're going to have to make a decision there whether to go along with management and wear the mask or risk losing your job. And we do have the CDC out there saying that employment suspension is a legitimate tool to enforce compliance with the mask rule.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to get Steve Elkins. He's a RN and like that. I'd like to get his resume because if Steve Elkins could prepare an open letter for medical professionals about.
Okay, Mark, I got to let you go. Mark, I got to let you go. We're at the end of the program here. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. Again, his guest is Dr. Jane Orient, Executive Director of the Association